Late at night on a rainy Georgia highway, a routine traffic stop turns tense when a Navy officer, Valeria Cross, faces off with a cop who thinks he's untouchable. One wrong move sparks a clash that exposes a broken system. Will she back down or fight? Stick around, this story's about to grip you. Highway 21 stretched quiet under a drizzle, its wet pavement catching the glow of scattered streetlights. Headlights from the odd passing car flared and faded, like whispers of something tense in the air. Valeria Cross cruised her navy blue sedan at an easy pace. The rain had let up, but the road stayed slick. Billie Holiday's soulful jazz hummed from the dashboard, her fingers drumming the beat on the wheel without thinking. 2 hours behind the wheel had left her tired. Outside, Georgia looked empty, almost asleep, even this close to Lakewood. No uniform tonight, just a black sweater and jeans, hair tied back in a low ponytail. Valeria blended in, another woman, driving home after a long shift. She liked the vibe, low-key, quiet, free. Then her rearview mirror lit up with red and blue flashes. The pulsing lights closed in fast. Her stomach tightened, not fear, no way. She knew she'd done nothing wrong. It was that gut-level unease, the kind you get when you've seen how thin the line is between legit authority and straight-up abuse. She flicked on her blinker, eased onto the shoulder, and killed the engine. Hands stayed on the wheel out in the open. Deep breath. She'd been trained for this. Years in the service taught her that even here, her rank didn't always cover her. The patrol car pulled up behind. For a moment, nothing, just glaring headlights. Then, a figure moving toward her side mirror. The sergeant was a big guy, solid, buzz-cut, heavy boots crunching wet asphalt. He held a flashlight in one hand, its beam hitting her face. She didn't flinch. "License and registration," he said, skipping any hello. "Sure thing," she answered, keeping it cool. "Mind telling me what's up?" He didn't bite, just grabbed her papers, stepped back, and gave her car a slow look. "Your taillights are out." "Come again?" She frowned. "No chance. I got them checked at the shop last week." He narrowed his eyes like she'd thrown down a gauntlet. "You arguing with me?" Silence hung heavy, the air feeling thicker. "I'm just saying I had them looked at. If there's a problem, I'll handle it." "Step out of the car," he snapped. She didn't jump. No one else was on this road. Her fingers tapped the wheel, then moved to the door. "Can you say why?" "Because I said so," he smirked, all attitude. "Not a request, not a warning." "A power trip dressed as routine?" She got out. Night air hit, colder than it felt inside. She kept her moves smooth, deliberate. He stepped back, eyeing her up, like he was sizing up how much he could push before she'd crack. Turn around, hands on the hood. Valeria held still, locking eyes with him, calm but steady. "Why?" His smirk vanished. "You resisting?" "I'm asking a question," he huffed, pissed, grabbing his radio. "Got a driver not complying," he muttered, then barked, "Turn around." She knew this was it. Go along, maybe it's fine. Push back, maybe it's trouble. But she wasn't here to play his game. "Not happening, officer," she said, firm but not loud. "I know my rights. I need a reason for this, and you've got no grounds to pull me out." He closed the gap. "You under arrest?" he snarled, snatching her wrist. She dodged, stepping back. "For what? Obstruction." He slapped cuffs on, hard, way too tight. Shoved her into the back of his cruiser, plastic seat biting her back. She stayed quiet. Flashing lights bounced off the wet road. Staring at the partition, she saw her reflection. No fear, just the face of someone ready for a fight that was only starting. "You know," he said, hopping in the driver's seat, "most folks just zip it. Keeps things simple." She didn't bite. Kept quiet, he chuckled. "You'd be home, not riding to the station." She turned, staring him down for the first time. "You thought I'd just roll over?" His jaw clenched. Something, anger, maybe, a flicker of doubt, crossed his face, but he looked away, fired up the engine. In the side mirror, she watched the road behind fade into red and blue. Ahead, the station's dark bulk waited, empty but full of chances to turn this around. They rolled into the lot, bare concrete, walls lit by harsh lamps over the door. He parked, got out, yanked her door open. "Move." She raised her head, stepped out. Cuffs cut into her wrists. He hadn't loosened them, and that was no mistake. Inside, Sergeant Rinaldi greeted them, looking bored, eyes blank. Booking was mechanical, prints, mugshot, signature. Done, Manning marched her to a cell. At the bars, he paused. "Think you're a big deal?" She smiled. "I know who I am." He froze, tapped the bars. "Good luck tonight." The bars slammed shut. She sat. The cell was tight, reeking of bleach and old sweat. The metal bench was ice cold through her jeans, but she didn't shake. Morning was coming, and he wasn't ready for what had hit. That bench was brutal, hard, freezing. No windows, just a flickering bulb overhead, taunting anyone stuck in there. The air smelled of damp mold, stale coffee, and some sharp chemical, probably floor cleaner. Valeria Cross sat straight, hands on her thighs. Her wrists stung from cuffs Manning had left deliberately tight. Beyond the wall, booking desk noise droned. Flat voices, a keyboard clacking, a yawn. Someone poured coffee. Another night on the job. She hadn't made a dent. Yet. Time dragged. 10 minutes, an hour. She leaned back, head against the wall, eyes shut. In her mind, faces flashed. Commanders, teammates, cadets from training. Afghanistan, Sudan, high-stakes ops at sea. Deals nearly gone south. She'd learned to stay cool when the world unraveled. Heavy boots echoed, slow and sure. Valeria's eyes opened, head still. She knew that walk. Sergeant Gareth Manning's voice hit before he reached the cell door. "Settled in?" he asked, arms crossed. She didn't answer, just held his gaze steady. He didn't like it. His lip twitched. "If you'd done what I said," he went on, "you'd be crashing in your own bed. Not here." Valeria let a small smile slip. "That almost sounds like a threat, Sergeant." He shook his head. "No threat, just how it goes." She leaned forward, elbows on knees. "No, Sergeant. What's coming is how it goes for you." His eyes flickered. Doubt or irritation. He turned, boots loud in the hall. She shut her eyes again, ready for hours of quiet and waiting. But the wheels were turning. About 40 minutes later, by her guess, the station door swung open. Two voices, one young, urgent, the other low, tight. She couldn't see, but she knew Manning was rattled. "Sergeant, this is big," the younger one said. "You gotta check this out." "Not now, Torres. Sir, please, it's about her." A beat. Silence. Then Boots stomped back to her cell. Manning showed up, his smugness gone. Behind him, a young officer, Latino, skinny, clutching a tablet, looked nervous. "Who's she supposed to be?" Manning asked, glaring at the screen. "Lieutenant Commander Valeria Cross, Navy, 20 years in, combat leader, medals, clean record." Manning's mouth tightened. He stormed off, cursing under his breath. Torres lingered, catching Valeria's eye. He gave a quick nod, not sorry but a sign of respect. Then a woman strode in, long coat, dark shades, all business. Marion Brown, Valeria's lawyer, the kind who seemed to have judges on speed dial. "Where's she at?" Marion asked the desk guy. "Cell B," Manning tried to pipe up. "Sergeant," Marion shut him down, not even glancing his way. "Save it. I'm filing an emergency motion. You've got no clue how bad you screwed this." He gritted his teeth. For 2 hours, Marion was a machine. Papers, calls, faxes, dirt on Manning piled up, too many stops targeting black drivers, missing arrest logs, swept runner complaints. By midnight, the DA's office called. "You sure?" Sergeant Rinaldi asked. "Her?" He shot Manning a look. "Yeah, she's here." He hung up slow. DA's sending a lawyer, maybe more. Manning's fists balled. He ducked into the break room. One slip, and it could have been nothing. But he didn't call it a slip. He thought she should have played nice. Said, "Yes, sir," not had a record, not been Navy. He didn't see it coming. Not just his job, maybe his whole life. A guy in a sharp coat flashed a Justice Department badge, and Manning was sweating buckets. He sat quiet like a kid caught red-handed. Valeria, still in her cell, breathed steady. The night was splitting open. Silence hiding a storm, loneliness masking momentum. Her arrest not a dead end but a launch pad. Like someone was rattling the walls that shielded guys who leaned on badges and clout. They called her to the front. 3 people waited, Marion, a DA rep, and the deputy chief. "Lieutenant Commander Cross," the deputy said. "Stiff, you're free, charges dropped. We apologize." She looked at him. No anger, no gloating, just calm. "Hope you get this isn't the end," Marion said, eyeing the DA guy. "We're starting an internal review," he nodded. and it's with civil rights now. Valeria hit the cold floor, stepped into the night. It wasn't the same night. She wasn't solo anymore. On the steps, Torres hung back, then walked up. "Didn't know who you were. Glad you didn't back down." "Not about my rank," she said. "It's for everyone who doesn't have one." He nodded, went quiet. She walked the city. Streetlights shimmered in puddles. Lakewood, Georgia was out cold. But morning papers were stirring. The story wasn't live yet, but it'd break. Gareth Manning's name wouldn't just be a flub. It'd be a wake-up call for anyone thinking a uniform blocked out truth. Morning light cut sharp through the county courthouse's tall windows, painting clean lines on the floor, like a path to something real. The air was dry, smelling of old files and cheap coffee. Folks filed in, some with folders, some with dreams, some just numb. Valeria Cross stood at the defendant's spot, but she didn't look like she belonged there. They ditched the cuffs, gave back her stuff. A navy blazer hugged her frame, white blouse crisp, screaming discipline. No jewelry, no flair, just raw strength in simple lines. She stood still, eyes forward, wired tight. Marion Brown sat beside her, cool as ice, flipping pages, jotting notes without a glance up. Her vibe was bulletproof. The courtroom doors swung wide. Sergeant Gareth Manning stepped in, same look as that night. Chin up, back rigid, shoulders broad. But the sharp ones caught it. Twitchy hands, locked jaw, eyes that wouldn't settle. He saw Valeria, looked away fast. Judge Jonathan Bellart came last. Older, face worn, gray at the temples. He slid his glasses into place and got to it. "Let's roll," he said, thumbing the case file. "Prosecutor Miller, you're up." Grayson Miller stood, mid-40s, soft southern drawl, suit pressed to death, no warm-up. "Your Honor, we've got grounds to believe Lieutenant Commander Valeria Cross's arrest was off base. More than that, we've got proof of power abuse by the officer who cuffed her, Sergeant Gareth Manning." A low buzz hit the room. Manning tensed. The judge waved for quiet. "Keep going." "Evidence shows the arrest had no clear cause. Dashcam proves the detainee didn't resist, and Officer Manning made zero effort to explain his demands." The judge eyed Manning. "Sergeant, anything to add?" Manning stood, cleared his throat. "Your Honor, she was mouthy, didn't cooperate, ignored a direct order, textbook arrest." Miller slid a single sheet from his folder. "Calm as you like." "Your Honor, here's Valeria Cross's file. Naval Academy grad, 2 combat medals, led ops overseas, not a single blemish, no write-ups, no gripes, nothing. And you're telling me," he turned to Manning, "this woman, middle of nowhere at night, just decided to get lippy for kicks?" Manning's mouth opened, but nothing came out, just a tight jaw, a dark look. "On top of that," Miller pressed, "a 2-year audit of Sergeant Manning's stops shows a nasty trend. 78% of drivers he pulled were African American, but only 6% faced charges. The rest? Quick holds, no reasons, no follow-up." Whispers rolled through like a breeze. The judge sighed, pinched his nose. "Sergeant, this ain't looking good." "She resisted," Manning doubled down. "The tape," Marion cut in, standing. "Your Honor, we'd like to play a clip." The judge gave a nod. Screen dropped, lights dipped. Everyone locked eyes on it. Dashcam showed Valeria pulling over, hands on the wheel, voice even, asking questions, face calm, no hint of trouble. Then Manning's sharp tone, cuffs, rough grip. It closed with him pausing, yanking the cuffs tight, his force clear as day. Lights popped back on. Silence hit like a brick. The judge leaned back. "Mr. Miller, we're asking to toss all charges and kick off a full investigation into Sergeant Manning's actions." "Seconded," Marion added. "My client did nothing but stand up for her rights. She's a Navy officer. She deserves more than a pass. She deserves respect." The judge lifted his gavel. Charges dropped. Case shut. "I'm ordering a probe into the officer's conduct and telling the county's civil rights team to dig into his stop numbers." The gavel slammed. Done deal. Valeria let out a breath. Not showy, just steady. She knew it'd go this way. Manning looked like his world had caved in, hands clenched, eyes wild. His badge, his control, his whole deal, gone in a blink. Out in the hall, he moved quick, dodging reporters, slipping past security. He clenched his jaw, caught other cops' looks. Not respect anymore, but judgment. Unease. Sergeant Manning. He spun. Chief of Police Eldon Baker stood by a wall, big guy, gray hair, stone-faced. My office. Manning nodded, mute. Door closed. Baker didn't talk for a minute. Then, we've got a mess. You went too far. Worse, you had no idea who you were messing with. She was... Enough. Baker's voice was low, heavy. 29 stops in 6 months. 23 on black drivers. Footage, complaints, now this. I did my job. You broke your oath. Manning stepped up, fists tight. Because she's Navy? Connected? No, Baker shook his head. Because you had no right. You thought you'd skate. He tossed a folder on the desk. Investigation's on. You're out till it's done. If it's what I think, you're finished. Manning stood, lost for words, adrift. Across town, Valeria sat at a cozy cafe, window seat, coffee in hand, scrolling headlines. Cop faces, probe after wrongful arrest. She gave a small smile. Not gloating, just knowing someone had to light the fuse. She did. Chief's office was no nonsense. Wood paneling, brass nameplates, old parade pics, faded awards, city thank yous framed up. A Georgia flag, a bit bleached, hung on one wall. The wide desk, glass-topped, held neat stacks of files. A green lamp glowed soft in the corner. Eldon Baker sat behind it, Lakewood's top cop, 30 years deep, eyes tired, steps heavy enough to creak boards. Gareth Manning stood in front, stiff like he was facing a firing squad. Chin high, but it was a front panic, not pride. His hands twitched, grabbing at something he used to trust, something slipping fast. Baker watched him, slow, like a ref before a call, then slid off his glasses. Sit, he said, pointing. We're talking as men, as cops, though that last part's shaky now. Manning perched on the chair's edge, wired. Sir, Zip it. Baker's voice was flat, tired, annoyed. I saw the tape, every frame, from the pullovers to the lockup, saw how you talked, how you cuffed her, heard because I said so. He raised an eyebrow. You know what year it is, right? I followed protocol. No. Baker's hand hit the desk. Not mad, just firm. Protocol's a reason, a warning, rights, staying cool, in charge. You? Ego trip, showing off, no respect for who she was? Manning looked away. She pushed back. No, Baker cut in. She asked questions. No insults, no yelling, no refusal. She didn't bow, and you couldn't deal, because you expect it, especially from a woman, or let's be real, a black woman. Silence landed hard. We both know your stops lean one way. Before nobody could hit back, she could. Now you're the poster boy for what's busted here. Manning slumped, rubbing his forehead, sweat beading. He'd been bulletproof. Stats buried, complaints trashed. Now it was all out. What's next, sir? Baker pushed a folder his way. You're benched. We're digging. DA's digging. Civil rights folks are in. Reporters are sniffing your old stops. Set up, Manning mumbled. She played it. Set up, Baker snorted. No, she just didn't let you roll her like usual, and she's not alone. Her lawyer's a beast, Navy's behind her, vets, activists, and a rep you smashed in one dumb move. He stood, hit the window, stared out. Worst part? You thought it was small potatoes. A bad light, some lady, no uniform, easy to scare. Wrong call. You didn't know her. Now, she's not just her. She's a spark, a reason to tear into everything you've done. Manning got up, pale. What do I do? Baker turned. Clean out your desk. Drop your badge, gun. Lawyer up, pray she doesn't sue you herself. And, he paused, ask why you signed up. Power or duty? He sat, looked off. Manning left. The hall stretched forever. Guys who'd slapped his back now dodged his eyes. Some stared, not friendly. Torres breathed by, no nod. It felt like falling, ground gone. At his locker he moved slow, mug, photos, service medal. He held the medal, then chucked it. None of it meant squat. Valeria was across town, in a TV station's meeting room, booked for a morning show. Not as a victim, but an officer, burned by a broken setup. She didn't want the gig, Marion nudged. One call sealed it. Her base commander asked her to speak up. On camera, she was steady, shoulders back, words clear, no theatrics. Not here for payback, she said. I want this to stop. For me, for anybody. Every cop pinning on a badge needs to get it. Serve people, don't own them. In the hall after, an old guy in a vet's jacket stopped her. Caught you on TV. Proud of you, ma'am. Thanks, sir. My grandson, 17, black, drives. You made me think he might get pulled over and walk away without getting humiliated. She gripped his hand, dipped her head. He left. His words hit deep, grounding why she fought. Next day, Manning's name was scrubbed from the police site. News flipped to talking heads, chatter about statewide department audits. But Manning wasn't out. He sat alone in a dive bar, nursing a drink, TV blaring. Lakewood cop case fuels reform push. He killed the sound. The bartender, barely 20, stared. That's you, huh? The sergeant. Saw the clips. Manning drained his glass, tossed bills, walked out, silent. Outside, quiet slammed him. He stopped at a light. Red glow hit his face. This road was done. He'd strutted it, cocky with fake clout. Now it was over. Across town, Valeria cracked a window. Breeze brushed her hair. The air carried freedom, justice, the kind you gotta keep scrapping for. But tonight, she knew one crack had split the wall. Mayor's waiting room glowed, soft morning light pouring through big windows. Post-rain freshness hung outside. The city stirred. Cars rolled, people hustled, kids laughed. Lakewood wasn't the same, not the pavement or buildings, but the feel, the pulse. Valeria sat on a bench, steady, upright, thin folder in hand, black bag on her lap, gray pantsuit, sharp and simple, hair in a tight bun, old service habit to stay locked in, even off the clock. A woman in a white blouse, warm smile, approached. Lieutenant Commander Cross, the mayor's ready. Valeria nodded, stood, headed down the hall. Mayor Monica Lee, 50s, short gray curls, sharp eyes, stood to greet her, hand out. Thanks for coming, Valeria. Okay if I use your name? Sure, she said. Appreciate the invite. Not an invite, the mayor said with a small smile. A nod to what you've done. They sat, teacups, papers, a tablet between them. Your case kicked up a storm, not just here, but counties over, news cycles, vet groups. You struck a chord. Didn't plan to, Valeria said straight. Couldn't let it go, though. You nailed it. I've had calls, moms, organizers, soldiers. They all say the same. Finally, someone spoke up. The mayor paused, picking her words. I want you on a new civilian board. Independent, focused on police ethics, community ties. We're rolling it out next month. Your story's the match. You could be the flame. Valeria eyed her tea. Its faint scent took her back to shipboard mornings, pre-mission briefs. She'd told Afghan rookies how to earn locals' trust, to hold fire unless it was life or meth. I'll think it over, she said, not doubting. Just want to be sure I'm the right fit. Mayor Lee's smile grew. That's enough for me. You've got a voice. People are listening. Outside, Valeria hit the sidewalk, folder tucked close. The day felt new, washed clean. Trees gleamed with dew, cars cruised, strangers gave nods. Some knew her face. At a crosswalk, she stopped. A mom crossed with a 4-year-old, the kid gripping her hand, yapping about bright store windows. Valeria smiled. She fought for more than herself, for the small ones, the ones who grew up needing to believe cops were safe, not scary. Her phone pinged. Marion. State DA's reviewing 10 of Manning's cases from the last 2 years. It's rolling. Valeria breathed out, even, calm. This wasn't a one-night deal, but the real fight was on. Same time, Gareth Manning sat alone in an internal affairs room. Clock ticked loud. Desk empty. They'd snatched his badge, no calls from buddies. His lawyer pushed a deal. He skimmed a complaint list, names, dates, lives he hadn't clocked when he'd pulled folks over, barking, because I said so. Now those names burned, raw truth staring back. An IA officer stepped in. We start at 9 o'clock, sign this. He nodded, signed, hand shaky. He wasn't a cop anymore, no power, no badge, nothing. Meanwhile, a big magazine's newsroom was building a piece on Valeria. A reporter flipped through shots, academy grad, ship drills, mission debriefs. Then the stop's grainy video, quiet defiance, her steady voice. You don't know what you're doing. Not just a case, a saga. That night. Valeria got home, small second-floor place, books stacked, photos of her old crew. She changed, boiled water, opened a window. The city buzzed, alive, not too loud. No fear, just a spark that change could happen. Phone rang. Captain Jenkins, old boss, voice rough from smoke. Saw the news. Hell of a stand, thanks, sir. Pentagon's caught wind. Don't be surprised if they call. They're thinking civilian outreach, maybe reform work, she sighed. Not sure I want the glare. Got it. But you're there, Val, more than an officer, a marker now. He hung up. Near midnight, she sat by the window, green tea steaming. Hall light spilled soft shadows. No exhaustion, just a quiet drive, like waves building. Her laptop glowed with an article, When an Officer Turns Hero, Not in War but on Her Own Streets. She didn't buy the hero tag. Just a woman who held her ground. In the glass, her reflection. Straight spine, unflinching eyes, scars not visible but real. A street lamp kicked on, light hitting her face. She smiled, small, true. The win wasn't Court or Manning's fall. It was walking through whole, knowing tomorrow's stopped wouldn't stand alone. This story shows that standing firm can shake a broken system. Valeria Cross didn't just defend herself, she stood for everyone, silenced by unchecked power. Her courage teaches us that change starts when we refuse to bow, whether it's calling out unfairness at work, in our communities, or for a stranger. Life often pushes us to stay quiet, but Valerio proves real strength lies in speaking truth, even when it's risky. You don't need a title, just conviction. So, what's your stand? Every voice matters, every choice shapes the world. Huge thanks for watching this with me. If this story hit you, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more. Drop a comment. What's one thing you'd fight for? Let's keep this rolling.